We're gonna wait a bit, see. Oh, he's got up. He's got up.
In this video, we visit the Nxai Pan National Park in Botswana, an area known for its wide open pans, waterholes, and incredible wildlife sightings. At times, it really felt like we were living inside a National Geographic documentary. The amount of wildlife we saw over just a few days was unbelievable. Nxai Pan National Park lies in the northeastern part of Botswana, and it took us about 2.5 days of driving to get there, but it was definitely worth it.
Hey guys, welcome to the video. My dad and I are going to be camping here for the next few days at South Camp in the Nxai Pan National Park. It's a wild campsite with no fences, so wild animals can pass through during any time of the day and night. We arrived at Nxai Pan Gate about 3.5 hours ago, and we took a drive north here to South Camp, and it was a very bumpy and sandy track, but we eventually got here. But as always, we're going to go on a game drive soon because we're here to see as much wildlife as possible. So sit back and enjoy the video because it's going to be good. I think he's also going to camp here tonight.
After settling into the campsite, we quickly noticed just how much elephant activity there was around camp. It was incredible to watch them passing through, some stopping briefly to enjoy the shade, while most were clearly interested in the drain water coming from the bathrooms. This southern yellow-billed hornbill was feasting on an insect, and we spent some time watching the whole scene unfold. Once the show was over, we headed out on a game drive. We were keen to explore a new area and hopefully see some animals that we hadn't encountered before. We managed to get some distant views of this goshawk, but at the time we didn't realize just how many we would end up seeing around Nxai Pan. We also spotted this ground agama using a termite mound as a great vantage point to scout for potential prey. Not long after that, we saw our first antelope species.
So my dad and I are doing the Nxai Pan loop, and we've been going for about 11 kilometers, and it's really warm. We saw on the temperature gauge that it's 41 degrees, and we've seen some nice springbuck, Cory bustard, and also an agama lizard. But now we just had a sighting of a bat-eared fox out in the open, a really good sighting. And the first sighting of a bat-eared fox that the two of us have had, so really special.
When I was younger, the animal that fascinated me the most was definitely the bat-eared fox, because I had never seen one before. They don't occur where I'm from on the east coast of South Africa, and they're also not found in the Kruger Park, so it was really a special moment to finally see one in the wild.
They feed on insects, and soon he disappeared behind a termite mound. And as we went further on to have a look at it on the other side, we noticed that there are actually 3 busy resting in the shade that the termite mound is providing them.
We saw plenty of white-browed sparrowweaver nests, but didn't see or hear any of the birds that lived in them. We also noticed an incredible number of white termite mounds. There must have been hundreds scattered all across the park. When we arrived at the famous Napan waterhole, there was a pride of 8 lions made up of adult females and their cubs. They looked hungry. It was extremely hot and they were lying out in the open, so they must have already had a drink before we arrived. Watching these lions and elephants interact was something incredible to witness. You don't often get such open views of the two species together in the same scene. As expected, the lions kept their distance and eventually moved away from the waterhole as more and more elephants arrived to drink. Oh, they're coming towards us. We couldn't believe our luck when this female lion got up and started walking towards the road. It allowed us to get an even better view of the lions as they moved across the open pan. They headed directly towards us and crossed the road before disappearing towards a dense thornveld, where they would no doubt settle down for the night. Soon after the lions had moved on, they were followed by 2 black-backed jackals. These opportunistic scavengers are very common around Napan, and where the lions are, there's always a chance for them to pick up an easy meal. Sunsets like this often look deep red or pink because of the dust in the atmosphere. As the sun drops lower, its light travels through more air, and the dust scatters the blue light away. That's what creates this glowing red disc on the horizon. What a spectacle.
These guys have pretty much been drinking the drainage water from the bathrooms all day. since we arrived here at the campsite. We've just got back to South Camp now, and the afternoon got really exciting very quickly. From those bat-eared foxes onwards, it was just one for the books. And it's just got dark now, and we've started a fire, and we're going to get the braai going. And really, the afternoon was just perfect. It was one that you hope to have when you book to stay at Nxai Pan National Park. Really a special afternoon on safari with my dad. Not one that I'm going to forget very quickly. Dad, how special is this? We were just about to put food on the fire, and we heard the southern white-faced owl calling above the campsite. And luckily, with the help of my dad, we got the spotlight on the owl and were able to film it. We're not sure what it was feeding on. Unbelievable. It's not an owl that you get to film too often.
After our braai, we noticed that the elephants were still drinking from the drain water. We also spotted a few creepy crawlies, including this Biberon's thick-toed gecko, and using a UV light we were able to find this granulated thick-tailed scorpion. That night I set up a few trail cameras around the camp to see what kind of nocturnal wildlife might visit us during the night. A male elephant fed around the vehicle throughout the night. We could hear him snapping branches and chewing loudly from only about 10 meters away. Of course, the black-backed jackals also did a sweep to make sure there wasn't anything for them to pick up. For such a big animal, these elephants are so quiet. Just look how many there are in this herd, and you can't hear them moving across the landscape.
We were up early this morning at 5 o'clock, and we could hear lions calling and barn owls during the night. And we thought we'd find the lions at the watering hole this morning, so we went straight up to have a look, but there was only one lone springbuck there having a drink, and it looked really nervous all by itself. And now we parked next to a crimson-breasted shrike, which is on a nest, and it's right next to the road. Not the easiest of spots. If you're not looking properly, I think you'll drive right past.
We were surprised to see this bird nesting during the peak of the dry season. Had this been during the rainy season just a few months later, there would have been more foliage on the vegetation to protect the bird from predators.
And we're on the lookout for other things, small birds. It'll be nice to see a northern black korhaan. Haven't seen that bird yet. So we're thinking we're going to do the same road in the same direction that we did yesterday afternoon before pulling into the waterhole, the Napan loop, and it's a little cooler now, so hopefully it'll be a little bit more productive.
It wasn't the clearest view of this honey badger, but seeing one during the day is particularly uncommon. It hung around and didn't move off when we parked next to it. Soon its cub appeared and the two of them moved off into the denser vegetation.
We've just done a loop around and got back to the main waterhole now, and it's a real contrast to when we were here 2 hours ago. There's so much game and bird life. There's big herds of springbuck drinking at the moment, and it's really the most game that we've seen at the waterhole since we arrived yesterday afternoon. I know the lions definitely had an impact on that. Nothing wanted to come drink while they were lying there. We noticed in the distance, towards the rising sun, there's a really large herd of buffalo approaching, definitely on their way to have a drink at the waterhole.
This herd of buffalo, which we estimated to be around 300 individuals, seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. I would think that this herd doesn't stray far from the waterhole during this time of year when water is so scarce. During the summer when there's more water, I'm sure they can even move off into other parts of Botswana.
And they're really big flocks of Birchall sandgrouse drinking. We didn't see them yesterday afternoon, so I'm guessing that they only come and drink in the mornings.
Being at the waterhole and witnessing all of this was unbelievable. In this dry area on the salt pan, hundreds of animals were coming to drink. At around 9 a.m. the place was busting with wildlife, and the Birchall sandgrouse was circling in to take their turn at the water. The whole scene reminded me of the National Geographic documentaries I used to watch as a kid, and for a moment it felt like we were actually living inside of one of them. Napan is one of the rare places in southern Africa where you can see both impala and springbuck together. These two species usually inhabit very different environments, so seeing them side by side is not a common sight.
It's just gone 9:30 now, and we've eventually started to head along the Napan loop towards where we saw those bat-eared foxes yesterday. We're going to go past and see, hopefully they're still around.
The bat-eared foxes were in the same spot and we were thrilled to see them out in the open. Just look at this one's claws. We even got to watch an individual slip into its burrow. A burrow we hadn't even noticed before. No wonder they're always in the same spot whenever we pass by. If you're enjoying the video, check out my website richardvanhacht.com, where I offer products like car door mounts and wildlife videography courses. You can also support the channel on Patreon, and a huge thank you to everyone who already supports the channel. It's your support that makes videos like this possible.
So we just stopped here at this baobab tree to have a look at it and also to get something out the back of the vehicle. And when we did that, we noticed that here on the ground are the feathers of
A barn owl,
which we think was roosting here in this baobab when it was attacked by a larger raptor. Maybe an eagle if it happened during the day, or if it was at night, probably the Verus or spotted eagle owl. And there's a lot of feathers and fur here on the ground, so it's relatively recent, within the last few days. And these baobabs are an iconic feature of this landscape. But yeah, we're going to head on to South Camp now. So I mentioned yesterday that this is a wild campsite and anything can pass through here. Here behind me, this male elephant just came from drinking water from the drainage pipes at the bathroom. And now he's settling down in the shade underneath these trees here in the campsite. Absolutely incredible. And even though they're so big, they move so quietly. You won't believe how quietly these guys move around. You wouldn't notice that they're here if you don't look and see it. They what, Chief? They're good. We've been at the campsite for the last few hours, and when we got back, I noticed where the southern white-faced owls are roosting. There are 4 of them there at the moment, and they must be cooking. There's not much shade there, and it's really warm. Really warm. The elephants are still here in the campsite, and around the ablution block are metal spikes which have been laid in concrete to stop them from getting to the fresh water and destroying the ablution block. And what I noticed last night is on the door of the ablutions there's a "please keep the door closed" sign to stop animals from going inside and drinking the fresh water.
this big guy hung out with us the whole afternoon while we were at the camp.
We've just headed out on an afternoon game drive. It's gone 10 past 3 and we're doing the roads east of the camp, roads that we haven't driven before since we arrived here. And what I can say is the roads are really overgrown, lots of thorn thickets coming into the road, definitely giving the car a bush rash. But we're going to loop around and eventually head west towards the main waterhole that we were at yesterday afternoon when we saw the lions. So hopefully there's some action there later on when things cool down a bit, but still really warm. I think similar temperature to yesterday. Yeah, similar temperature to yesterday. But hopefully we get to see something. We aren't far from the main waterhole, about 3 k's away, and we've had a really nice sighting of this northern black korhaan. By far the best sighting we've had of this species. We saw it earlier today and yesterday afternoon, but really far away, about 150 meters away in the long grass, and this is only about 15 meters away. I'm sure you guys heard the audio, and we've been hearing it call pretty much in all the areas that we've driven around in this inside of this park, so it must be common. I think its call travels quite a far distance over these open areas, so it can be heard from quite a far distance away.
The pale chanting goshawk looked like it was feeding on a ground agama, although it was a little too far away to be certain. There are a few of these raptors around here, which suggests there's a healthy amount of prey for them to feed on. And where there's prey, there are predators.
The ostrich and the elephants were the only animals we could see making use of the waterhole when we passed it about half an hour ago. And now we're busy driving the open plains, the salt pan grasslands, to hopefully see any animals which we may have missed out on in the last 3 game drives. But it's just gone 5:10 and it's still surprisingly warm, and we've just turned around now to head south back towards the watering hole. But yeah, we've had such a good time here at Napan. Really, we've been saying that we're surprised at the amount of bird life and animals that we've seen. We weren't expecting to see quite so much. No, it's really been a good time. And we still have the rest of this afternoon and tomorrow morning to enjoy it.
We couldn't help but go past the bat-eared fox den one last time. You never know if these will be the best visuals you get of this species, or when you might be lucky enough to see them again. This tawny eagle looked like it was on the hunt, perched low on top of this termite mound. Because they are such large and powerful raptors, they have a wide range of prey options. There are even records of tawny eagles taking birds as large as the Kori bustard. To end off the day, we spent some time at the waterhole watching elephants come down for a drink before moving on again. It was a special scene with the sunset casting purple hues across the landscape. After spending about half an hour watching the elephants, we noticed the tawny eagle had caught what looked like a helmeted guinea fowl. It quickly flew up to the top of a dead tree to consume its meal, safely out of reach of any opportunistic blackback jackals.
No sign of the owls tonight, eh? So we're back in the campsite now and we've just got a fire going. And we had a pretty quiet afternoon game drive compared to the one that we had yesterday afternoon with the lions. But still nice to spend some time at the waterhole and experience those elephants mud bathing. And yeah, no owls calling in the campsite tonight. There is a little bit of wind, so that's probably a factor. We'll go on a short game drive tomorrow morning before heading out at the park at around 10 o'clock in the morning. And our next stop after this is Kwa in the Okavango Delta. And look out for that video, which will be coming out next after this one on the channel. So yeah, see you guys in the morning.
That morning we were lucky enough to see 2 southern white-faced owls. It almost felt like they had come to say goodbye as we packed up the camp and headed out for our final drive around Napan.
Give us a thumbs up, Dad. We just stopped now to have a look at this flock of helmeted guinea fowl. They were busy foraging in the ground. And if we hadn't stopped to have a look at them, we wouldn't have noticed this double-banded courser, which is definitely sitting on eggs right next to the road. It is so camouflaged.
We arrived at the waterhole, and that was no doubt where all the action was. There were even some new characters we hadn't seen yet in Napan. This male lion made an appearance, and in that moment we were able to see 3 members of the Big Five in one location, the other 2 being the leopard and the rhino. We did a loop and came back to the waterhole. We were here about half an hour ago and there was nothing here. And now there's 2 lions, a female just off the road here about 50 meters away, and the male just behind me. He's definitely got eyes bigger than his stomach. But yeah, crazy ending to our time here at Napan. We're gonna wait a bit, see. Oh, he's got up. After the lion sighting, we headed back to the entrance gate of the national park, about a 40-minute drive along some very sandy roads.
Okay guys, we just got here to the exit gate at Napan, and we're going to go on to Maun before our next destination of the trip. Those few nights at South Camp were really special with the elephants in the camp. What a time we had there. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And please look out for other Botswana videos that will be coming out on the channel. Thanks again. See you in the next one.